right, welcome to another installment of the Fragments of Silicon reviews. 4 reviews up this week, the first of which is the Tetris Effect Connected. Now, in case you missed it, we did a multiplayer session of this on Friday. That should still be in the archive as far as I know, so if you want to go and see more of us, collectively play the game cooperatively, and indeed, that's the connected part of the Tetris Effect here, because the Tetris Effect is a game that's actually been floating around for a few years now. I want to say it came out. It came out in 19. Here we go. 2018 for the PlayStation 4. Like, there have been a lot of releases. Yeah, no, seriously. There have been a lot of releases of this core game over the years.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, they're not done. So as it turns out, like, the Nintendo Switch version isn't out yet. That's not out until next month.
Fine.
And So I couldn't have requested a code from that, or I guess I could have if they'd sent the offer, which I suspect that that Enhance will once that becomes available. Though our policy is not really to review a game that we've already reviewed, especially since the Tetris Effect on Switch is probably not going to have a VR mode. That's probably going to be the biggest difference here, because otherwise,
I mean, there is that Labo thing.
Yeah.
But yes, you're probably right.
Like Labo? Yeah, you might be meaning Amiibo.
No, the Labo VR.
No.
Build a fucking cardboard thing and put your Switch on your face.
I literally forgot that existed. Like,
congratulations, you're like.
Well, it exists. I'm not gonna pretend it would work well for this.
Oh God, no.
But it does exist.
Duly noted. I'm just saying, oh yeah, that's a thing that happened. I mean, granted, the whole Labo experiment's kind of done. Kind of really done. Anyway, that we're kind of straying off topic here. But anyway, the Tetris Effect is basically, from an aesthetical point of view, it's Tetris combined with Luminous, which makes sense because a lot of the people who created the Luminous franchise were involved with the creation of this.
The original concept of the Tetris Effect is that sometimes it's a known thing that sometimes when people are playing Tetris, they get really in the zone, and the VRness and the music style and visual style was supposed to be designed to elicit that more easily, and the success was mixed but non-zero.
Yeah, I can't say I ever got into the zone with this game. Honestly, I think a lot of it has to do with the new stuff. Not so much like the modern.
Plus, it has the weird zone meter where in all of this is part of the original Tetris Effect thing where when you're already doing pretty well, you can hit the zone meter and then get lots of combos if you're good at the game, which I'm not.
Well, it's also the whole thing slows down.
Yes, the blocks actually stop falling by themselves. You actually have to advance them manually.
Mm-hmm. And it's all kind of annoying. And honestly, there are some other quirks here that I didn't care for. I'm with you, Golix. Having the hard drop on up as opposed to, a dedicated button.
That is official, has to be the default Tetris controls now. Thankfully, it is remappable.
Yeah, I'm just saying, that's annoying, but it's fixable. I will say they toned down the spin, because the spin is generous, but it's not infinite. And I remember infinite spin was a part of the Tetris rule set at one point, and that was a spot of concentration within the community. I remember.
It's not a real Tetris puzzle game unless you have to at some point get a T block through a 1 block wide passageway down to the bottom of the screen when there's like 10 rows of blocks on.
I mean, I can T-spin. Like.
Yeah, but that requires a lot of.
I'm aware.
Doing.
Yeah. I think my biggest issue with the game was just the overall stickiness of things. Like, I know that once again that's kind of a modern thing, but like there are some times when I just wanted a block to stay and it wouldn't stay. You know, especially when the hard drop was off. I don't know why the hard drop was turned off. Like why that was thought to be a good thing. Like, or maybe it wasn't. I really don't know. Like, I didn't really. Yeah, there's a lot of modern Tetris stuff that I don't like. There's a lot that I do like. I do like ghost blocks. You know, it's like. You know, if you saw our playthrough of the classic competitive mode, yeah, I'm a bit too used to that shit because everything else was misaligned.
To quote again from the Soviet Union to the Tetris theme, it is from that. Sometimes it seems that to move blocks is fine and the lines will be formed as they fall, but then you see that you have misjudged it and you should not have nudged it after all. Ghost blocks help prevent that.
Yeah. And yeah, like I said, there's a whole actual set of rules in regards to Tetris, and a lot of the modern rules clash with a lot of very high skill play. You know, we're talking people who can handle the fucking Tetris Grandmaster stuff.
Yeah. And I'm not exactly sure what fills up the zone meter. It's not just line clears.
It's dropping. Yeah.
And from what's name? From the whole zone thing. I feel like it's more advantageous if you're good enough that Tetris that your play style is to like intentionally set up but not complete multiple lines at once.
Yeah.
So you have to build up a large thing to then clear instead of like trying to keep the thing low.
Anyway, so the Tetris effect is actually the first time that Tetris has graced big boy platforms like consoles in about 4 years, going from like first release. It's 4 years because the last one was Ubisoft's dreadful Tetris Ultimate.
We don't talk about that one.
And the reason is because Tetris can run on literally a toaster. It feels undeserving to some people of, fancy real consoles.
I guess. I mean, I'll be honest. Probably my favorite version of Tetris was a version I had on my late 2000s era cell phone.
I'm not judging quality at all. Again, I was raised with the Microsoft probably bootleg.
Like, I had the version of Tetris on Android, and here's the thing. Tetris really doesn't work with touchscreens.
Yeah.
Like, that
sounds awful.
It is awful.
You need very precise clicks.
Well, it's also you kind of need tactile feedback, which you don't get from touchscreens, which is kind of why that thing had a lot of auto drops. You know, it was more place it here or place it here. This is why, Tetris ironically was better on, worse phones, let's say, but had physical keys that you could
totally play Tetris on an old cell phone that has like an actual number pad.
Yeah,
it just ain't work for
smartphones.
Yeah.
That being said, the Tetris Effect being, the first full-blown console experience for Tetris in a good long while, sought to really fill that gap. Because, like, for example, this is the first version of Tetris Effect to hit, or Tetris to hit Steam. Or at least that's available on Steam. I don't know if an older version ever popped up there.
Probably at some point. I would be shocked if this was, the very first version of Tetris on Steam.
If nothing else, there are probably some games on Steam that have knockoff Tetris mini games.
Well, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about actual Tetris with the Tetris name.
Fair.
Like clones, like obviously there's going to be Tetris clones there. Not as many as there once were. Like, the fucking 90s. Yeah, you couldn't fucking shake a stick without falling over a couple of thousand falling block puzzles. Like, especially like in freeware PC areas, because this is a very simple concept. It's relatively easy to make, so to speak. But yeah, the Tetris Effect seeks to go not just beyond plus ultra in regards to its aesthetical values, all the fucking techno and various skins and pyrotechnics and Buddhist imagery for some reason. Like,
there's all kinds of imagery in this.
Yeah, and that actually plays into one of the key modes, like the big single-player mode called Journey Mode. This is something ripped right out of the Luminous page.
It is essentially play Tetris and continue to play Tetris, but when you reach a new level, which is determined by score and lines cleared, I think. Instead of just changing color slightly, the visualization changes completely, and then every 3 levels it changes even more drastically, and you've reached a new world.
Right, but the biggest connection between Luminous and Tetris in this mode isn't necessarily the audio-visual things, which does the same thing in Luminous. Like every amount of line clears in that game got you a new skin, got you a new change. Like the changes here in Journey Mode aren't that drastic, but what is the tempo. This version of
that's always part of it. Tetris gets faster.
Yeah, but no, not like this.
Oh, and is it the fastening is faster
or slower? Like, no, seriously, this isn't your typical escalation. It's more how the tempo of the song goes, because usually it is going to go faster and not just up a level. It's gonna be like you're on level 3, then you're on level 7, then you're on level 12. Yeah. But sometimes it can do the reverse. Like you start on level 10 and you'll drop to level 2. Not often, but I did encounter a song like that where the intensity came at the beginning and then switched to a more mellow part. As I said, it's not based off of your traditional rules of Tetris. It's based off of how the song flows. Problem is, it really doesn't flow like a normal song does. So your only indication of how the song is going to go is through playthroughs. Like, lots and lots of playthroughs. Because there are variable difficulty modes, but you do have to play on normal or the beginner mode in order to get past a certain point. It's one of those games. Like, there's a practice mode that allows you access to the first 3 worlds, I think, maybe 4. I know I got to the point past that, but yeah, it's definitely a different way of playing Tetris. I'll give it that. I don't necessarily like it, because the gaps can be wide in terms of how hard things get. And yeah, and you are susceptible to the usual Tetris things of, when you lose control of a Tetris round, you can lose control really quickly. But that's just Tetris in and of itself.
There's a metaphor about life in there somewhere.
I'm sure there is. But and the main purpose to go through the journey mode, other than challenge, is to unlock all the skins. Because the skins can be used in what's called effects mode. At least some of the modes. See, I'd say effects mode is where the real meat of the game is. Because, journey mode is a Tetris adventure mode. Not the first time that Tetris has ever attempted this. Some standouts come to mind: Tetris Plus, Tetris Worlds. They're just not trying to tell a fucking story here.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And trying to anthropomorphize the fucking Tetris blocks. These are things that have happened. Look, when you've been around as long as Tetris has, you go in weird directions every now and again. And I would put the Tetris effect in a bit of a weird or surreal direction. But anyway, the effects mode, this is where, first of all, your classic modes, marathon, they got marathon, ultra, which is a 3-minute score attack mode. Marathon is, that's your bog standard Part A Tetris, except for the fact that it has a ultimate clear line, 150, and let's see, sprint, 40-line time attack mode, master mode. Yeah, this is based off of the Grandmaster series.
It'll break you physically and mentally.
Well, it's it probably won't. There's not enough time for that, because it's not kidding about being the master mode. The blocks just drop just almost automatically. And
hope you're good at buffering inputs, friends.
Yeah, and you got to clear 300 lines out of this. Yeah, it's not messing around with that name here. For very experienced players only. On the contrast side of things, you got the relax. You've got chill marathon, which is marathon mode, but without the game overs. Up to 600 lines. Quick play. Once again, that's kind of on the name of the tin there. Whatever stage you got unlocked, and you can just go in there. Got the playlists, which is basically a Grand Prix mode. That is to say, it gathers up 4 themed levels. You got sea, wind, and world. And you play them in continuous succession. You got all clear, which is how many all clears you can get. That's getting rid of all of the blocks in the well.
Yeah, some modes would call that puzzle mode.
You got combo mode. Perform as many combos using in 1 minute. You got target. Clear as many sticks with gem blocks as possible in a 1 minute time limit. Some of these are adjustable. Then you've got the Adventurous Modes. Countdown. Score as many points as possible in 5 minutes. And this starts the gimmick modes, because you also have to deal with dropping what they call eyepieces now. They're also known as L blocks. Either one works, because it's the straight line things. Purify, which is to clear as many gray garbage.
I thought an L block was the left. It was the opposite of the J block.
Well, it's the small L. Yeah.
I know, but you would call it an I because it's not an L.
I'm just saying I've heard both. It's a lowercase L. I'm not saying people are necessarily the most articulate about this. Plus, terms in Tetris have changed.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, Purify Mode. This is basically, if you remember, like Nintendo Tetris or a lot of old Tetris, this is the part B, where with a twist, you're trying to get rid of a preset amount of blocks.
Mm-hmm.
But it's done in the style of it combines the garbage blocks and the infected. Like, you got to get rid of these specific purple glowy blocks, and they kind of stack puzzle league style. There's actually a lot going on in this mode. That is to say, the infected blocks come from the bottom. So, mystery. This is it's not so much mystery as it is random mechanics thrown in your Tetris section, and it gets very, wacky and weird. Like, here's the board inverse, and here's big blocks and shit like that. I really only played this once. Like, I'm not a big fan of overly gimmicky Tetris. And the multiplayer modes, we covered that in detail on Friday.
Well, another thing to note about Effect Mode is they have a thing on Saturdays called Weekly Ritual, which is a special. One of the modes has bonus XP, and you can get exclusive avatar things from it. Just something to note.
Oh, no doubt. So there's a lot in this package, if nothing else.
Yeah, if you like Tetris, you will be entertained.
Yes. Once again, I suppose that comes down to how you like your Tetris. Like, if you're looking for old school Tetris, it's here. But it's it's in one of the multiplayer modes. I don't think the classic. I'm trying to think if that. I'm not sure if that's available in single player.
I didn't see it, but there is a bunch of gameplay options, so I imagine you can probably make it.
Yeah. So it's definitely a very flexible version of Tetris. Like I said, my actual enjoyment of this. Yeah, I liked a lot of the effects modes. I didn't really care for Journey mode because, once again, the whole tying Tetris to a song, that doesn't work.
It gets unexpectedly difficult at random intervals.
Not at random intervals.
Okay, seemingly random intervals, and if you have the music turned down low, you might not even notice.
It's an idea that works better for Luminous. Because
again, this game is really intended to be played in VR, and when it's in VR, you would have the sound loud so you can't ignore it. But some people don't like VR.
Well, it's also none of us here have VR.
Well, yeah, but if I was interested in VR and didn't think it would probably just give me a headache, maybe I would get a VR headset.
Yeah.
But I have no incentive to do that.
Yeah. Another thing to note, this is a cross-platform title.
And that worked fine.
Yep. Like I said, our multiplayer session worked really well. On both games. So, anyway, in terms of pricing, so this the base game is $40. Though keep in mind, this is available on Game Pass. Though the trick with Game Pass is you don't own that.
Yeah.
And
you do get a discount if you want to buy it.
Yeah. And it's worth noting with non-Microsoft or Bethesda Game Pass titles, there is a chance that the Tetris Effect connected will disappear from that. Games are rotated out. The Steam version does have the Tetris Effect Connected Digital Deluxe DLC, which is a 7-track soundtrack sampler by Hydalectic including the fan favorite song Connected, Yours Forever, 11 4K desktop wallpapers, and 7 Tetris Effect profile avatars. So, I don't know. That doesn't sound like something I would plunk down $5 for.
Yeah. Well, the music maybe,
It's
but
still only 7
that's
tracks.
yeah,
Tracks of that.
that's a touch much for music.
Yeah. As far as the base price point of $40, like that, like ordinarily, like paying that much for Tetris in this day and age might be a bit of a hard pill to swallow. Like, especially since, there have been downloadable versions of Tetris that only retailed for $10. Keep in mind, just the package we went over, that's kind of where the money's going towards. Also, the music and all the effects. This isn't just like NES Tetris or, basic Tetris or some sort of, small version of Tetris wrapped around a, let's say, fish themed wrapper. And yes, that actually did exist. Tetris Splash, like, had a whole host of shitty DLC surrounding aquariums and fish. That's another thing. Like, instead of offering a lot of these skins and music as separate DLC, it's all packaged here. So, it's not like, oh, this is $5 or $10, but there's there's track packs that cost $5 a pop, and to get everything it would cost way more. We've seen games like that, so I'd say $40 is eminently justifiable for this package. And yeah, it's a good version of Tetris. It's probably going to be some people's favorite version of Tetris,
like me.
Yeah, for me, there were too many issues for me to really spend hours upon hours on this.
I honestly kind of prefer simple Tetris, but that's me.
I'm kind of in the middle there. But it's like this is a very solid package of Tetris. Probably one of the better games we've covered this year, all in all.
I mean, to be fair, it's kind of hard to fuck up Tetris. It is very possible, but it's hard.
Yeah. That's one of the things Ubisoft did.
Yeah.
Oops! My algorithm for making sure that it never does a unwinnable pattern accidentally made it do an unwinnable pattern all the time.
Seriously, I'm still shocked Ubisoft didn't make you pay for each piece.
They probably could if they would. Anyway, so that'll about do it for the Tetris Effect Connected here. Be sure to tune in after the break as the Golics will be reviewing Have a Blast.